Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. You guys know what time it is. Time to talk about current events in the online fitness community. Is this really online fitness community for this one? Dealing with Robert Oberst. Obviously, he's not a YouTuber. Because, guys, I don't really want to cover YouTube stuff anymore for the most part. I don't care what other channels are doing. But when we're dealing with stuff in the strength community, and particularly big topics, big mainstream topics like Robert Oberst, I need to chime in. And the reason I'm going to do this, and I think some of you saw this coming because I saw the ads come through my feed. Then I had two different subscribers, two of them within the last day, link me the ad saying, "What in the heck's going on? What is going on? Why is Robert now using the deadlift to sell suits?" Now, this wouldn't be such a big deal if he hadn't got on Joe Rogan and told millions of people not to deadlift. Okay, there's the issue, and a lot of us disagreed. I disagreed. We saw Jeff Cavalier disagree. Saw the Boogs disagree. All these people were like, "What?" And I think the point we need to come to is people need to realize that just because someone's a champion athlete doesn't mean that they're always, a good source of information. And look, the thing that struck me with this is that the deadlift is being used now to market for him. He's literally making money advertising his deadlift in an ad to make money after he told people not to deadlift. They shouldn't deadlift. And I respect the hustle, don't get me wrong. Like, I have no issue with Robert using his fame to help sell a product. If it's a product that has value. I don't like supplement sales. When people use their outreach to sell supplements when we know supplements generally are useless, that's what I've got a problem with. They're conning people. But inexpensive suits, they're basically selling cheap suits. You know what? Suits have use. People need suits. A lot of people on a budget need cheap suits, right? I don't have an issue with that. I have no issue with that product. I have no issue with Robert using his fame to sell a product that people might actually benefit from. Hey, do what you got to do, man. Make your money. That's fine. Like, I don't see that as a moral issue in any way, that aspect of it. I'm just bothered that after he told everybody not to deadlift, which that's a problem. I completely disagree with that he's now going to use that to make money. His deadlift, his 880-pound deadlift. That's hypocritical. Now, what would I think would need to be done to make it not hypocritical? Well, if he came in and said, "Well, I want to take back the thing about the deadlift. Maybe I was wrong." Okay, well, there we go. Then use your deadlift to make money, right? We're good. We're good at that point. There's no hypocrisy at that point. And you know what? People are allowed to change their minds, right? We can change our minds when we realize that we're wrong or new data comes in, right? Mature adults do that. He wants to come in and say, "Look, guys, okay, maybe the deadlift isn't so bad. Now buy my suits." Well, okay, that's great. No problem with that. Be like, all right, you come around, you come to your senses. We've all done it. I've done and said some stuff that was flat out wrong, and I've had to get up and say, "Well, you know what? I know I said it with conviction, and it's convincing because I can be a speaker who speaks with conviction. That's the reason I built an audience. People have to understand that. I built an audience because of that years ago. That really is what built it up. Be the ability to speak with conviction and to speak with confidence. Problem is, that's how everybody who speaks and builds an audience of any type speaking does it. We can be wrong over half the time and still sound convincing. To have conviction in our tone of voice, the way we speak, the way we present information. But, the point is, hey, I've been wrong. It's okay. It's okay to admit when you're wrong, guys. In fact, it should be commended. It should be respected. When a man stands up and says, "Well, I was wrong, guys." Right? That should be commended when people do that. Especially when they say, "Well, look, the evidence came out. I was wrong." There's no shame in that. That's very respectable. He should do that then. Should do that. Because here's the issue. He turned a lot of people off to the deadlift. And the other problem, and I agree with Boogs on this one, he's telling people, oh, just replace the clean with it. Well, that's someone who has coached at the D1 level himself and said, well, I've seen some pretty terrible cleans in the weight room that hurt a lot of athletes. I mean, and let's be realistic. It is easier to learn a conventional deadlift than it is power clean. And sloppy, heavy cleans can get you hurt just as fast, if not faster, than a deadlift. Like, you really, guys, to get hurt doing a conventional deadlift, you've got to be... Some of my fans out here are going to be like, wow, you're being a dick. I got hurt doing a deadlift. Well, you got to be kind of dumb. Let's be realistic here. Your form has to be pretty bad. Like, if you just followed the most basic, simple tutorial on a conventional deadlift, and you built a strong low back and strong abs, and you follow just a basic form tutorial and don't deviate from it, you're probably not ever going to get hurt on a deadlift. It's bad form. Bouncing the bar, arm bend, pulling completely round back when you shouldn't. Some people need to do that for competition, by the way, but that's a different beast. I know some people who hold some records who pull that way who never get hurt. And I'm not talking 20-year-olds either. But that's besides the point. They're very advanced elite athletes who built the core strength to get away with that. Most of you shouldn't be doing it. Deadlift is not a particularly dangerous exercise. Furthermore, we come back over to that point. There's tons of different deadlifts. You know, it's like he's saying not the deadlift, and he meant just the normal conventional deadlift. Well, look, if we have people with different levers and movement patterns and things and mobilities that need to be corrected, that's why we have the different tools available, guys. We have the ability to stack blocks. We have the ability to create deficits. We can change your range of motion on a deadlift really easily. I can do it with all the stuff I've got right here in my home. I have clients who I have buy the same mats and stuff that I have so that we can adjust and do block pulls and other stuff. Right? We can change 1 to 3 inches on their range of motion either direction. You can do a lot. If you have issues with low back, we can pull sumo. Yeah. Even more so, if you have mobility issues and low back issues historically, we can pull sumo off blocks. You have options. It's not like the deadlift is stuck as this completely static thing. It's a very, very diverse exercise when you start looking into the different tools that you have available and ways to deadlift and the stances you can use with conventional sumo. You have options. You know, and people do need to be doing a heavy pull from the floor. Okay? It is a basic movement pattern. A heavy hip hinge off the floor is a basic movement pattern that people need to learn. If you want to be strong, if you want to be athletic, you do need that. Maybe you personally, as a person, may not be built for the standard conventional deadlift directly off the floor. Well, that's fine. Maybe you have to build your mobility to be able to do that. Well, we have other tools available. There's other tools available. And that's assuming it's not something fixable. A lot of times we can build up weak links. Okay, we can build weak links up to keep you from getting hurt. Supplemental work. All right? But the deadlift itself is not an inherent problem. And I would argue that it's essential. I'm just saying, yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be the conventional deadlift pulled with the standard plates off the floor. We can adjust those things to meet the needs of a lifter. And that's fine. You know, if I have someone who tells me, well, the conventional deadlift was, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it on my own even with coaching, but I found that pulling sumo off of a 1-inch mat feels perfect on my back and I can get in the perfect position, even with my history of injuries, and I can pull that way. See, if I hear somebody say something like that, I'd be like, hey, that's great. You have a history of injuries or issues or back pain or back injuries, and you've now found a deadlift, a legitimate deadlift variation that you can do. Exactly, and most people can. Pretty much everybody can. And I think that was the issue he had with the statement, just telling people flat out not to do it. And then, now we're using, it's being put in an ad what he deadlifts. Like Robert, just come in and say, okay, maybe I was wrong, man. Deadlift's fine. You just have to be smart about it. See how easy that would be to do? And you know what? I promise you, nobody other than a few stupid, goofy internet trolls would hate on the guy if he did that. Right? Most people say, well, you know, the guy realized he was probably wrong. Spoke out of turn. But he's admitted it, and everybody moves on with their life. Hopefully. It's not generally how it works, but reasonable, sane, intelligent people would move on with their life at that point. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.